This is going to be a quick little explanation on the brightness contrast tool and why there's a forward and reverse button on it. It's basically so we can invert the operation. And why would we even ever want to invert a brightness contrast control? Well, a lot of it has to do with negative pixels as far as I know. What I have in my comp here, this footage is DaVinci Wide Gamut, DaVinci Intermediate, and it's debayered that way, but then I'm taking it into linear space with the Cineon log tool. But the issue is, if you take a look at this image right now, if I use the good old Milo Labs pixel analyzer, which is essentially it's a fancy probe modifier that he's built, and it's really handy for this, so I suggest you go get it from Reactor. It's amazing. It has lots of purposes besides this. But if I look at the pixel analyzer results over here, this lower exclamation point is telling me there's something in the negatives in the minimum. So basically there's a pixel in here, or several pixels that are below 0, which is not necessarily an issue until you start to do multiplication on it, because if you do multiplication on a negative number, the negative gets more negative, and so we don't want that. We want to preserve the plate as best as possible. So here's how I would do that. The idea here would be, rather than using the pixel analyzer here, let's use it on a brightness contrast right after it's gone into linear space. And with the pixel analyzer selected, again, you can get that from Reactor, I'm going to pin it so it just stays visible while I select the brightness contrast control. I'm going to use brightness, which is offset. Okay, it's just an addition to every pixel till I get this green value into the non-negative numbers, and it'll make this exclamation go away over here. So I'll just increase until we see the exclamation go away. Let's see. There we go. I don't want to do more than I need to. So right around there, what is that, 0.051? Now there's no negatives down there. Maybe scrub to some other frames to make sure that we're not hitting any negative pixels in the image. And we're not. And so what that means now is if I do multiplication on here, which is what a gain would be, or any sort of, pre-mult sort of operation, all the values are going to stay positive, and we're not going to create negatives that didn't exist in the real world. So this color gain right here, if I select this, you can see if I increase gain, all those numbers are going to go up because the lowest numbers are starting above 0. So hopefully that makes sense. And then the most important part of this whole process to be non-destructive is we need to reverse it. And that's why I wanted to mention this whole forward and reverse button. So what you do is you take this node, Command C, I'll paste it down here, I'll insert this into the flow. And on this one, I just say reverse. And basically it's done like a no-op. Same thing with like the Cineon log tool when I go from log to lin and then lin to log. What that basically tells me is if I turn this off, the original linear image right here should be the exact same as I come out over here, which it is. There's no change to it. So raise it. It took me 0.051 to get it out of the negatives, and then pull it back down so the colorist gets those negatives if they want them or need them, and that's done with the reverse check, whereas the first one is in the forward mode. One alternative I will just put out there for those that don't care about those negative pixels, there's another tool over here called the Gamut limiter, and this will just clamp off values at 0. So what this one can do, instead of dealing with preserving every pixel, which you would want to do on anything that was really important, this tool, you basically can send a signal into it. And when you do that, we can just say the gamut that's coming from, which for me it was DaVinci Wide Gamut, and it was linear, and it's going to limit me to Rec 709, and it's going to just clamp off those values. So if I inspect this one here, we take a look, it's clamped all my minimum off to 0. So I haven't retained the scene, but I've also gotten rid of that issue. And then this would be a destructive way of doing it. You would not be able to retain those. If for some reason you needed those and wanted to deal with the gamut issues and color.